Alrighty. We are live on Facebook. And we are live on YouTube. Alrighty. Well, welcome everyone to a fantastic stream with me, Amit, and the rest of the Son of Oak crew. This time, the writers for our new game, Tokyo Otherscape. You're joining us at a tremendous moment as we're reaching the final 2 hours of our Kickstarter campaign. As you can see from the countdown below, we have 118 minutes to go. And in that time, we're going to be talking about Tokyo Otherscape. We're going to be talking about the campaign, and we're also going to be, maybe creating a few things for the game itself with the help of you, the chat. So, as you all know, I'm Kevin Carpenter, social media expert for Son of Oak. You've probably seen a few of my videos. And joining me today, Meet. Start us off.
Well, you probably know me. I'm the City of Mist creator, Amit Moshe, and I'm just the first thing I want to say is thank you all of the backers who supported this project. It's been really amazing, blew our minds how much support this project got, and this is the first game that we're creating in the vein of City of Mist. We did create Queers last year, and now we're creating the first game that is kind of continuing this universe in a way, and we're really excited about it. Really excited about the support that it got. And thank you, writers, for joining us. Maybe we can do a little introduction round.
Yeah, let's go around the campfire, talk about ourselves. Which writer wants to start off first?
I'll start. My name is Tony Pye. I am a science fiction and fantasy writer, but I also write for games, such as several supplements for in the City of Mist Garage and the Star Trek Adventures mission briefs called Starbase Adventures. And I'm also a MC in a City of Mist campaign and a player in Colin's campaign.
Oh, fantastic. Colin, why don't you go next?
Yeah, my name is Colin Wilson. I have a blog, Method James blog. I on it write about all sorts of different gaming subjects, and with Tony have been writing things for the City of Mist Garage on Drive Through RPG, which I want to give a shout out to. There's so many awesome writers and awesome people contributing, and also on the Son of Oak Discord, everyone's really encouraging, and it's a really great community to be part of. I'm excited to be a part of this, and I'm already all the ideas that we've been trading around have been really exciting. I'm an MC for Tony's, or for the campaign that Tony's in. Um, one of those forever MC GMs, so have only occasionally for one shots got to actually be the player side, but I try and make my GM characters compelling too. So
I understand the forever MC, forever GM feel right there. All right. Who's up next?
I'll go.
Alrighty.
Hi, I'm Akemi. Let's see. I'm a mobile game designer by day, and in my off hours, I make TTRPGs. I only fairly recently started writing, 2000 end of 2019 now, so it's not that recent. But time is a weird soup right now, especially. So it feels like it's only been a really short time since I've started designing. Um, and yeah, that's me.
Incredible. Time is a weird soup. Chat, write that down. Love that. All right, and last off, the profile picture of the cat and the pancakes.
Yeah, so I don't have a video device as you've mentioned, but nice to meet you, everyone. I am Lexi Untoku. I am a TTRPG writer and editor. Not editing here, just writing.
Now, could you answer to the chat? Are you a cat with pancakes in real life?
Um, Not at the moment. Today I was a cat with oatmeal.
Incredible. Love the life. Alrighty, so Meet, will we be having another writer join us? I think Colin was the one who had to dip out halfway through, but I believe everyone's here that's going to be here, right?
Yes, that's everyone. It's not all the writers. I mean, if actually Yiftach from Israel was supposed to join us as well. I don't know that he is still connected. He might connected yet. He might join us. But we also have him. We have Chris Gunning on the team, and who's written for City of Mist before from the very core book, and then also in Shadows and Showdowns. And we may have more writers still join us on the team, although we have already a kind of a winning team as you know as we stand. And for today, I think Iftach might be joining us, and I think that is all of us. And of course, we will have some kind of close guidance also from Isago Fukuda, the artist, who is creating most of the art for this project.
God, love that guy. So chat, stick around. We may have more faces coming into the stream as we get near to the end of the Kickstarter. But for right now, I think let's talk about the Kickstarter a bit. Amit, tell us a bit about how the Tokyo Otherscape Kickstarter has gone, your expectations, how they were blown out of the water. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think I mentioned it. We're really, really excited about this. We got to unlock so much extra content. So these are going to be 2 books with really everything you need to run the game, both in an international, global, wherever you want kind of thing. Whatever setting you want, that's going to be the core book. And then we'll also be able to, to really create a nice, substantial setting book for Tokyo Otherscape, where that's going to be where a lot of that extra content, whether it's dangers, whether it's avatar operations, whether it's new sources and stuff you can kind of like play with, player options, all of these things, and a new adventure, we hope, fingers crossed, by the end of this Kickstarter. I mean, we're really, really excited that we're going to be able pretty much to do everything we planned on and more. And we're also excited about the Codex app that's coming, because that's kind of like our vision of where we want to take, tabletop role-playing games. You don't have to actually have a huge tome, lug it around. You can also have it on your phone, and you can have the huge tome, because we all love the huge tomes, and the color art and all of that. So yeah, there's really a lot of things. I'm really excited about the next 6 months or so, where we'll be crafting all of this stuff together. So I think this Kickstarter has gone amazingly well. Thank you again, backers, for all of that. I think I've covered everything.
Well, you mentioned that we may be able to unlock a new adventure for the book. What funding goal do we need to reach for the new adventure?
Well, we're hoping to reach 275,000 in order to be able to fund that. However, having said that, we did announce that we will be using the Pledge Manager funding to also unlock stretch goals. So whatever we're not going to do today, we're hopefully going to unlock these things later this month when we open the Pledge Manager. The 2 things that we really want to do are the things on the board now, this extra adventure, and then we would love to print more characters, because, I mean, you guys are probably better to talk about it than me, but I think a lot of people who have kind of been introduced to City of Mist did it through the sample characters or the pre-gen characters or the character folios. It's been very kind of a well-loved item for City of Mist fans, and we really want to print more of them for Tokyo Otherscape.
Yeah. Oh, and speaking of the characters, isn't there? Can you tell us about the Immortal pledge tier that was added to the Tokyo Otherscape Kickstarter?
Yeah, so that's another thing that people really loved in Kickstarters in the past. People loved the ability to create their own characters and make it an official character. We've had some really famous City of Mist characters come from backers, like Scarlet and Ghostface, for example. And we just wanted to put it out there. If someone really wanted to contribute to this campaign in a big way, which they have, we still have 2 more slots for that. And you'll be basically designing a character with us and turning it into one of the official characters that Kevin has there behind him on the wall. That's the poster side, and the other side of it is the character side. Yeah.
Hang on, let me just grab one of these real quick. So here's Flicker from City of Mist, fantastic poster, and then on the other side is the actual character folio character sheet. And so if I just have people over, I can just say, hey, grab a poster off the wall and let's get started. But no.
The paint.
I've just got like pieces of tape on these guys, don't worry. It's not like great adhesive. So I'm really excited to see what the audience created backers, or I guess not audience, backer created Immortal tier pre-gen characters are going to be, and there's 2 more slots left. So if you're in the chat right now and you're like, hey, I want a character immortalized in this awesome game, check out the Kickstarter right now.
I can tell you that I've already reached out to these backers, and they've already shared some of their ideas, and some of them are just out of this world. There's one thing that just pops in my head. There's a medic kind of support characters based on the Sasquatch. Am I pronouncing it right? And there are many other characters that are going to be just crazy. So wait and see. We have really cool characters coming up.
Incredible. I think with that, the first question I kind of want to ask for this group, we've talked about being a forever MC. Sometimes it's hard to actually be a player, but Tokyo Otherscape, if you could create a character, what would it be? For me, for example, I'd love to create a bodyguard with the mythos of, and I think I'm pronouncing this right, Hecaton. It's this Greek myth of a giant with 1,000 arms, and I think just having an interface where it creates holographic arms to hold weapons and stuff like that would be fantastic. Like Wilson's half brother, he didn't get super strength, he just got more arms.
Maybe I'll talk about the character I proposed, Kerberos. He is based on the mythos of the Hellhound. So he is piloting these robotic, canine drones, as well as having the ability to, for example, breathe fire and manifest multiple heads. So that was my idea.
All right. Anyone else?
The mythoi that are a little different than, or the mythoi and logos sort of don't always match up in how you expect. Out of the ones that are behind Kevin there, the postmortem comes to mind. It's Frankenstein's monster, and you'd expect it's a mob enforcer or a bodybuilder or something, and no, instead it's a agile assassin with high-tech gear. That's that definitely fits, but it's not what you'd expect necessarily. I think in the Otherscape world, we've been talking a lot about how being inhabited by a mythos is not as common. You sort of get gifts from those mythic sources. So I've been sort of brainstorming about different ideas, in Alice in Wonderland, one of my favorite books, there's the White Rabbit who sort of visits people going through, and that's how Alice goes through her adventure. Visits people, and he's got an appointment with this person, and then he drops off a present for that person and a watch for that person. So thinking about what sort of logos could the White Rabbit inhabit in a cyberpunk city, and then sort of maintaining this network of clients going out is very in touch with the story, but also sorts of stories that you find in cyberpunk movies and books and stuff.
I love that. I'm also just imagining like the White Rabbit gifts its abilities through like an Uber delivery service. You know, sign up for White Rabbit today.
Yeah. Bill the lizard in the front seats, and he just kind of pulls down his Newsies cap, chucks something out the window to you, and then drives off.
Cat. All right. Anyone else got some PCs that they may never get to play? Huh. No, I'm gonna play this game as a like PC. I'm gonna make one of my friends like MC the playtest at some point. I'm excited. I want to play Wilson.
I guess I'll take a moment to take the stand and promote Valkyrie, who simply has no mythos. She just has a very, very high-tech replacement full-body prosthetic.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of weaponry.
Oh yeah, right. She's essentially like the RoboCop kind of character of Tokyo Otherscape. She's really interesting to me too. I love the art with her and Wilson facing down the Azura tank, which you guys can check out that art piece in the Tokyo Otherscape playtest, which is free to download for everyone here. We'll put it in the description after the stream is over. But with that, let's see. Anyone else want to put out a PC on there or move on to the next question? Moving on it is. What's your favorite Cyberpunk piece of media? You know, what is the stuff that you're really like taking inspiration from as, you know, you're sort of bringing that into the writing of this game?
I'm gonna chime in there because I think Lexi brought in a really important point.
Oh.
And let you guys think about the cyberpunk media thing for a minute as I'm kind of filling that space. It's really important to say in this game there will be characters that don't have all three elements. You don't have to have a mythos. So Lexi, you brought up Valkyrie, who's going to be, like you said, full body prosthetic. There's going to be characters that are completely self. They won't have any tech and they won't have a legendary power source, and I don't know, but probably some characters will be without tech. There'll be a combo of mythos and self. We're also talking about characters that are only tech and only noise and mythos, like they don't have a self. So that's really interesting to us to explore. I think we also had a chat about that, Lexi, for Shikigami, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's also really interesting to explore, because what does that mean? Does that mean that the character has no will of their own? They don't have an identity, but they have a lot of like drives or forces that are directing them. So yeah, definitely a good point to remember that it's unlike in City of Mist. Characters can come in all flavors and shapes in Otherscape.
Yeah, and going off of that, I really love the concept. Like in City of Mist, you know, you have all mythos themes, you become an avatar. If you have all logos themes, you become a sleeper. But with like the trichotomy in Tokyo Otherscape, you know, you can have like all cybernetic and mythos themes and become something called like a singularity. But if you go like the traditional like City of Mist point and become, you know, like full like mythos and logos and just completely negate the noise, you become closer to what like a regular like City of Mist character would be.
Yeah, exactly. And it's the themes are much more dynamic, are going to be much more dynamic in Tokyo Otherscape. You'll be able to just, you know, stop doing like if you're a Nagi, stop doing the ritual of the eel princess and yokai and just drop it and get another one. So you can just replace your mythos theme because you found better gear or whatever, or a better ritual to do, or a mask, Tengu mask, or whatever. So it's going to be very dynamic. You'll also probably be able to swap out tech. We know already from City of Mist that the identity is ever changing. The self themes are changing. One day you're into someone, the next day you have a troubled past theme or a defining event because you had to kill them, and all the drama of movies and stuff like that. So all of this is going to be very, very dynamic. And we did discuss that we're going to have special rules for certain character combos. So if in this moment you are a singularity, you will probably have special moves that only singularities can activate. If you are an avatar or a rift, or if you are a cyborg, moves that are specific for that. So there's a lot coming. There's a lot coming. Back to the inspiration media question.
Yeah, I mean, Amit, what's your biggest pieces of inspiration?
I already said it. For me, it's Ghost in the Shell for sure. Akira also a big inspiration. I do, even though it has a lot of flaws and it didn't really survive the passage of time, I do think that Neuromancer, created some core, core aspects of Cyberpunk. But for me, it was always, Ghost in the Shell was my first kind of big Cyberpunk. Piece of fiction that I was compelled by, especially that mood, because it's also a little bit noiry in a way, neo noiry. So that's kind of like the bridge for me where City of Mist meets Otherscape.
Yeah, Amit, if you did not become a TTRPG designer, I could imagine your career is just that guy in a duster and a fedora smoking a cigar, like you're a private investigator, like you just
sure,
something about you is drawn to that aesthetic specifically, and I love it.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know if I would do very well with that aesthetic, but I'm definitely drawn to it, for sure.
Yeah. So everyone else, so what are your sort of biggest pieces of cyberpunk inspiration?
I think for me, the sort of like Amit, I'd go back to my first introduction, which was Blade Runner, which I liked. But I think my favorite right now is the Altered Carbon. I really like the that story with digitizing minds and I think a theme in Cyberpunk is having kind of other people control things that should be yours or should feel personal. That sort of invasiveness of modernity that the Gibson and other authors were trying to get at, and in having that be like you don't even own your body, you don't even control. I really love the Valkyrie character for that same reason. A big part of it for me is that Valkyrie does not own that body. That body is corporately owned, and the mind is sort of downloaded into it. So I love that idea, and I love that the take on the mythos is that same way in this. That City of Mist, you can be the rift of Red Riding Hood. And you are Red Riding Hood, but also the college student, and you're sort of playing back and forth. In Otherscape, you have this story that you're living out, but you don't even own that. You're sort of borrowing that, and some big force owns that. You're just sort of a little cog trying to make it.
I absolutely love that, City of Mist, you own your mythos, and then in the ultra-capitalist Tokyo Otherscape, you rent your mythos. I love how thematic that is. All right. Anyone else?
Sure, I'll go.
Yeah.
So, probably one of the first things Cyberpunk things I remember reading was Snow Crash, and that has just stayed with me forever. Some of my friends just recently did a reread, and it holds up. It's still so relevant and still so it feels accurate to now, even though it was written 20-something years ago. And that's when I first encountered it. But so that's my first introduction. My current favorite cyberpunk thing was an actual play called Callisto 6. It had cyberpunk superheroes, and it was, let's take this genre of cyberpunk and play it, switch around and make it hope punk.
Was that on
Geek and Sundry?
Geek and Sundry, right? Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. That was really cool. I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely loved how they just made the world on the characters, and just, yes, it's cyberpunk. Yes, there's corporate dystopia, but it's all about the heart of the characters and how they are like fighting back against the corporate overlords and how they made things work. Oh, let's befriend this giant robot that's trying to kill us instead of trying to destroy it.
I gotta say,
Absolutely.
I love the interplay of like cynicism and hope in a lot of like really great cyberpunk stories. I'm gonna say like my favorite cyberpunk series is the cartoon Batman Beyond. Do you guys remember that one?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love that, like, oh, this is someone taking up like the Batman mantle in this cyberpunk city. The cops on hovercrafts are chasing him. But my favorite is like the intro, like literally it starts out with all these like gritty images like despair, corporatism, duh, duh. And then when Batman shows up on the screen, it goes hope. And then like, of course the guitars start wailing there. God, I love that cartoon. But yeah, no, just like honestly, I'm probably gonna take like a couple of Batman Beyond episode plots and run them in Tokyo Otherscape, see if anyone notices. Alrighty. Just checking the chat real quick. Oh, apparently someone else did the Immortal pledge.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, phenomenal.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. We can't wait to create your character with you. And I'm going to look who it is and send them a message.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, I'm excited to see.
Yeah, I am too. I can't wait to see the characters people come up with. So yeah, we've talked about a bit of like like the media we're into, but let's like get like a bit more granular here. What's like the cyberpunk element that you want to bring into like Tokyo Otherscape? Like this, like one of the specific things, or maybe just like a scene or a character, or just like one of the little things that just like screams cyberpunk to you.
So I had to stay mostly quiet through the media bit and hope that other people would say mine. And we got, I want to say, 2 or 3 of my big ones there, because if I started, I would never stop. When Amit asked me I was being brought on, I went on for like half an hour on them. But so what I want to bring here is something that I think Otherscape is going to be particularly good for, and it's how these invasive elements that you turn to either out of convenience or necessity blur your identity. How they become part of you when you accept them into you, whether you want to or not, and how they change you. And even if you cut them away later, how they've marked you in their passing.
Absolutely. And that comes from both sides, right? I mean, am I getting what you're saying, Lexi? That it's
Yeah.
mythos and noise are really kind of invading your your identity in that sense, or becoming a part of it at the same time.
Yeah, and for some people, that sort of thing might be welcome for one reason or another, whereas for others, they're going to have a very negative attitude toward it. Some might have, of course, complicated feelings that mix both of those, especially if it's something that they don't necessarily want, but that they need despite that.
Yeah, and like philosophically, that's happening like all the time in our regular lives too. Every time you get out of the house, like you're taking bits of the world around you and putting them to yourself, whether you notice it or not. But I think in a setting like Tokyo Otherscape, it's going to be a bit more blatant when it's like, hey, if you put in this implant into your brain, it will make you 20% more productive, or something
exactly.
like that. Yeah.
Or here, take this little fetish necklace and wear it all day long. You're gonna get great powers, but you're also gonna want to, I don't know, feed off your neighbors or something like that every what is it, like full moon or something like that. So yeah, absolutely, Lexi, I totally get it.
Listen, man,
And
just
of course,
put on this
corporate
cradle.
is glad to provide at a modest price excellent rates for people within the company.
Yeah, so thanks for joining the company. Here's your uniform belt. Don't take it off, even if your skin starts turning green. That's just a side effect.
Exactly.
You'll remember that also we're not liable for any unusual decisions you make during the solstice per your employment contract.
Okay, I think you guys are ready. You're all set.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I think I want to explore the cyberspace and virtual reality and artificial intelligence. Like for the media thing, I was going to actually mention some things which I've been looking at more recently, such as Sword Art Online, where there was a lot of exploration of um, artificial intelligence, what happens when you're trapped in the virtual world. Um, so I think I want to just delve deeper into that. Um, and something which uh, one media property that has been in my mind, but I don't know whether or not it fits perfectly in, but I like the vibe of it, is Fifth Element. I think there's some elements of that I would like to just kind of bring into Tokyo Otherscape as well.
All
Yeah,
right.
I love that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Especially the what is it? What's his name? Corbin Dallas? Are we talking about the same
Yeah,
movie?
yeah, that's right.
His apartment is just like a cyberpunk, wonderland. Like the things
Yes,
that he pulls out of the like no space in the first like 10 minutes of the movie or half hour, it's amazing.
I am a meat popsicle.
yes.
Oh man,
Awesome.
aren't we all meat popsicles? Uh,
And
so
look at it, we're meat popsicles that just crossed 271,000. So maybe
oh
we
yeah.
can unlock something this during this stream. Maybe. Thank you. Anyway, thank you, backers. Back to you, Kevin. Sorry.
No worries. Thank you so much, backers. So yeah, so we're talking a lot about like the sci-fi, like cyberpunk stuff we're gonna bring into this, but also this is this is a mythic cyberpunk RPG. So what are like the mythoi that you're excited to bring into here? And this could be like a specific myth, or it can be sort of like it could be Greco-Roman or like Japanese or broader kind of thing. But like what? Let me know about the magic that you're excited about for this game. I mean, like I said earlier, I love the concept of like the renting the powers as well. So you have like these like magic figures who have like a bunch of other people with powers beneath them. But Colin, what were you about to say?
Was going to say, from the sort of emceeing world building point, um, I when I start to think about the mythoi in cyberpunk setting, I start thinking about the American Gods series. Um, there's a lot of one of my favorite things in there are all these sort of old gods of Odin and Kali, these gods who have immense power, who are think like, well, we're sort of past those things now. Instead, they're just finding new ways to keep doing their old tricks. So I really love the idea of um, getting to meet the head of a mega corporation, and it's Osiris, and that's unexpected. Oh no, what are we gonna do now? Um, Thinking of ways that humans still have the same problems at their core, but they look incredibly different in 2022, and they'll look even more different in the near future in these sci-fi settings. So thinking of there's still ideas of kingship. So there are uh, avatars from City of Mist that are expressing that and being sort of government officials and uh, um, pushing their obsession with power in that way. And how does that play out here? How does a river deity show up in Otherscape when all the rivers are paved over? Um, other rivers could they have? Are they trying to bring the rivers back? Have they moved on to another data stream deity? Thinking of how those things can change and how legends can live on is really exciting, I think.
Yeah, I think we saw a little bit of that too in the playtests, sort of the playing around with streams of water and streams of data. But for spoiler reasons, I'll not go any further on that. Um, oh God, I talked about spoilers. Now we were losing Colin to the pixelation.
I think
Colin,
it's
you're
a
back. You're good.
coincidence. You've angered Benzaiten. You're in trouble.
God, yeah, it's always a coincidence. That's what they always tell you.
That is eerie when that sort of thing happens, though.
Yeah, I was once watching that Unfriended movie, but I was in a long distance relationship at the time, so of course we were watching it over the internet. And so, of course, whenever it started glitching out, we were like, is this part of the movie? Is this part of our Wi Fi? Or are we about to die?
Yeah. Well, for me, in my science fiction and fantasy writing, I do a lot of historical fantasy based in China. So I would love to bring in more Chinese mythos. Um, and I think, even in Tokyo Otherscape, there'll be chances to bring some of that in because of the proximity of China and Japan.
Is there like a
Yeah.
like a specific Chinese myth that you're excited to bring in?
Um, Not specifically. I am looking through some options, but haven't quite pinned down exactly which ones to bring in.
All right.
I do like the eight Immortals, so
Ooh.
that definitely has been on my mind.
I can imagine
Cool.
that the Eight Immortals being like a boardroom of people who just never get fired from the board.
We do have the next project. It's a little bit early to talk about, but the next project we'll be getting into is Local Legends, and that is going to have the Chinatown that has always eluded us, and definitely, I mean, Tony's is already on board with that, and you're gonna have a lot of fun with that as well. But we don't want to, being such a major player and so close to Japan, like you said, we can bring a lot of Chinese elements into that. And, we never know. Maybe we'll which Chinese city would you otherscape? I mean, there's so much to choose from what Westerners know. I don't know even, probably more to choose from. What would you say was your
Um,
first choice?
my first choice would be Chengdu because I set a lot of my stories there, so I know the historical context of that city, and it's not one of them. It's farther inland. I think you, you could get some very interesting stories set in that city as well.
Hmm. I've actually
Awesome.
I've actually been to that city on a shoot that was like forever ago. My biggest memory, of course, was getting hot pot, of course, over there, and then having the worst morning afterward. But God, that night was fantastic. That was the best hot pot I've ever had. Actually,
Okay.
speaking of like different cities and settings, we have a question from the chat from Mark Johnson. Are you planning on doing more settings in the future? Meet, could you tell us about that specifically?
Of course. I mean, the answer is absolutely. I mean, if we did, we're going to start with Tokyo Escape. And as we've said before, this is kind of code name for Japan in general. I mean, we're going to involve a lot of other, hopefully, Japanese locations in that book. We have a lot of expertise on the team for that, which is great. Um, but yeah, we're going to do other cities. Initially, when we launch, I talked about Lagos and I talked about Rio. There are two cities I would love to do, but every time we have a very dedicated backer who's mentioned Honolulu a couple of times, and they pitched it to us, and it looks beautiful because there's a kind of a struggle between natural resources and capitalization there that they brought up. Anyway, there's so many options. It's really going to be hard to choose which one to do next, but we're definitely planning on making more of these books. As long as people love it and want it, then we'll be making them.
And that's a large part of the Metro Otherscape book as well. Like we have the setting book, Tokyo Otherscape, and then Metro Otherscape is going to be sort of like the core rules that you can use to sort of adapt to a lot of different cities, correct?
Yes, you'll be able to create your own. You'll be able to create your own and put it up on the garage. So the Metro Core book is really kind of like the baseline, and I think Tokyo Otherscape would be a great demonstration for everyone. And here's how you should do it. Here's like what you should include if you want to make your own product in the garage. things like that. And then, of course, we'll be creating other books from Son of Oak, but we'd love to see more cities, by the fans and the players and GMs of this game, or MCs rather.
Oh man, yeah, I'm excited to see what like homebrew stuff people put up, like stories of their adventures. People send like stories from their City of Mist games to us, which we're always excited to see, just because it's like these are people playing the game and having fun with it, and yeah, so there's gonna be a lot of like super cool moments that characters are gonna make in this cinematic game as well. So I think the next question I really want to know from you guys is like, what was a big like City of Mist moment that you had in your own games? Like, what was a gameplay moment that got you excited? And it's like, okay, this game system is awesome.
Yeah, I can start. My group actually had their season finale last night, so I'm just still kind of excited from it. But one of the main things was the system allows you to really change the nature of your character drastically in some ways in the City of Mist game. So we had, for example, one person who became a Valkyrie after a moment of evolution, changing from the mythos of a phoenix to a Valkyrie. And also, they also had a very intense encounter in a museum against the Rift of Nyarlathotep from Lovecraft, and they used a move called "Stop Holding Back" to just use your mythos to escape from a fate worse than death. But in the process, ended up being turned into a moon beast from the Lovecraftian mythos. So we had some really wild moments last night, and all the players are still very excited about what happened last night.
That's really exciting that you put like Lovecraft like mythoi in your game, because like once you start putting that into the City of Mist game, things start getting weird real quick.
Well, I'll say that it is driven by the player desires a lot, like what they choose for their own mythos and where they want to go. It was a player who liked Lovecraft, so I found that why not? Let's just throw in somebody that you would have to really struggle against.
That's incredible. I love that. Yeah, City of Mist is definitely a game where like who the characters are definitely influences what the story is going to be, because that's at the heart of it. When you have like character arcs baked into the game mechanics, you want to have your cases baked into the characters' character arcs as a little circle. But yeah, anyone else have a City of Mist moment they want to geek out about?
I have a couple from the same game.
Nope.
They're two things on completely opposite sides of the spectrum. One, I was playing Lily, and I did not want to get up from the couch because I was playing a petulant teenager, not wanting to get up from the couch. So just I'm just summon Hans, open the door. Use super big magic to go open the door because I'm like, no, I don't want to get up. And on the other side of the spectrum,
Very Lily Chow.
Yeah, like on the other side of the spectrum, like the bar got flooded, and then someone used powers to just turn the entire bar into a desert.
I
don't remember exactly how this happened, but like sharks came in, bar became flooded.
Oh,
and then someone was like, "Nope, I'm using powers," and we're now in a desert.
Cool. That's not just cool. It's smart too in that particular moment.
Two different things on the opposite sides, both using lots of big magic, but one for super mundane, open the door because I don't want to get up, and the other is we just completely changed the environment from flooded to now it's a desert.
Zoning issues are going to be terrible.
I know.
It's going to be impossible to get all that sand out.
Exactly.
Hey, but at least the sharks won't get you.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a really smart move. I've never heard of anyone doing that in that starter adventure. That's really cool.
I love how as soon as you said like, "Oh, there were sharks in the water," Meat was like, "Oh, I know exactly what case you're talking about now."
Yeah,
Oh, come on.
I've run that case.
Love that case. Yeah, honestly, I run a Knights of Paintown home game on my end, and we're
I hear about it every week.
Yeah.
I'm like, tell me what happened.
Meet will have work meetings, and it's like, okay, so we figured out the social media for this week. Here's what we're gonna be doing for the video. Now, tell me what your players got up to.
Totally.
But yeah, no, they without getting too far into it, they're being chased by a bunch of yokai assassins. And so one of them can like turn into like humanoid smoke, and so of course, being an assassin, they like snuck into one of their like vans and were about to take out the player. The player managed to roll so well that they just turned around and took out this like hand-sized like car vacuum cleaner. And just like sucked up the assassin in one go, just like you're trying to get me on my turf. And I'm like, all right, I guess that works.
Yeah, I love these crossovers between like ordinary life and the mythical. It happens so many times, and now I really want to see how it goes in Otherscape, where you have this dark dystopian future tech, crawling city, and then all of a sudden something mythical, and also some everyday life. So that's the part I'm looking forward to.
I feel like there's going to be at least one case that's solved by turning it off and turning it back on. But maybe that's just my games.
The server.
Yeah, exactly.
The whole server.
It's like right after the VR harnessing adventure. It's like, we still haven't got it. Wait. Got it. So
I'm gonna check the chat for a second.
Yeah.
What's happening there?
Once again, chat, thank you all for joining us for the stream. We're a little over an hour to the finale of the Tokyo Otherscape Kickstarter. At 275,000, we unlock a new adventure for the game. But answered in the chat, we will also have a pledge manager after the campaign is finished. So there's still a chance of unlocking stretch goals even after this campaign right now is finished in just 71 minutes to go. So, we talked a lot about sort of like the broad stuff, what like science you want to bring into the game, what magic you want to bring into the game. But now, with like Cyberpunk, a big thing that's exciting about it are like the gigs, the jobs, the missions that you can only do in a setting like this. So, you don't have to say like, oh, this is the job I'm going to write, but like, what's one that's sort of in the back of your head, one that's like you're really excited to run, even if you just run it for like your home game.
One thing that I'm really excited about is this idea that, like, in City of Mist, the everyday people don't notice the mytho because of the mist that obscures things and makes the ogre look like just a bodybuilder or something. But the noise in this works differently because people are kind of focused on all the advertisements and pop-ups and push notifications and phone messages and stuff, that everything kind of blurs together. I really like the idea of having some big action, high octane sequence happening in the middle of downtown, and there's yokai jumping over buildings and flames and everything, and down below no one's noticing because they've all got their phones, and you sort of have an epic mythic battle in plain sight, but also there's an influencer with a new video drop, so no one's noticing while it's going on.
I'm sorry, I was just imagining like 5 Toad yokai like jumping over a car, and someone's in the driver's seat just like pulls the brake and it's just like, traffic's real bad today.
Yeah, totally. It's like the question is, maybe they're not even there. They're like totally glazed over because they're watching this influencer video or whatever drop. Yeah, I would love to see a battle like that. That would be really cool.
And they just think it's a Battletoads advertisement or something, and
Yeah,
keep
exactly.
driving.
Whatever.
Well, yeah, I mean, like nowadays we have those like corner building billboard advertisements that look like 3D holograms. So like Tokyo Otherscape, they probably have like holograms of like dragons flying through the streets, and then it turns into like a billboard, like Dragon Steaks now open. So as soon as you see all these creatures running about, a lot of people are just like, this shit again.
I think of like
what movie is that coming? What movie is that for? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Who cares?
Think of walking through Times Square and like some guy in an Elmo suit hands you a flyer and you're like, sure. Then a wicked stepmother hands you a poison apple and you're like, whatever. And someone else has gift cards to Subway and you're like, sure.
I just need to get to work. Leave me alone.
Yeah. I'll eat this apple later. Don't worry about it.
The funny part of that is that the gift cards to Subway are the most cursed item there.
I mean, spoiler alert, we're kind of already there, right? The world is already there. I mean, if these things happen, everybody would just like, move on with their lives. So just tack on like, I don't know, 50 years of tech on that, and let's see where it gets us.
Well, I mean, Coke is already selling like what, pixel flavored soda, like what was like Bites or something like that is what they called it. Yeah, look it up. They just released it's like a limited edition like pixel flavored Coke, and all the reviews are like, yeah, it tastes like weird Coke.
So kind of like the space flavored one they had.
They had a space flavored Coke? I missed that one.
Yes. It was like Starlight or something like that. It was like on the bottle it said space flavor, and I'm like, what? What is space flavor? It was kind of a berry something Coke.
According to astronauts, the smell of space is like burnt meat.
How do you have smells in space without air?
Yeah.
I think astronauts have written about it. I think it's like when you're cycling an airlock and you take off your...
Oh, okay.
Everything's like super irradiated and crispy smelling. So it doesn't sound terrible, but not a Coke flavor.
I imagine like you could put some like bacon in a microwave then and get like the space smell. Like that's what I'm gonna do right before playing a Tokyo Otherscape game, just to get really into the immersion.
So that's one of my questions. What do you think? What kind of level of space exploration do you like in your Cyberpunk games? AKA, what do you think we should do with Otherscape? I mean, do you want it? People have asked us if we're gonna do like Starfinder level, all over the universe kind of thing. It seems to me sometimes it seems like it gets away from Cyberpunk, but then you have things like Fifth Element, which is very cyberpunk and at the same time sci-fi. So what do you guys like? That's a surprise question. So take a minute to think about it.
Maybe a colony at most in the solar system, but not beyond that.
Yeah, like something not too advanced. Something we've advanced a little bit. Maybe we got to Mars, kind of Total Recall kind of situation, but not space exploration. Maybe
like space elevator seems to be kind of a thing that happens a lot in Cyberpunk, but
sure,
like they typically don't go past the space elevator.
Yeah, totally agree.
I like that. Oh, go for it.
I think that if it's flexible enough, I wouldn't mind being able to run something like Total Recall or Fifth Element just by adding a few elements.
I kind of like the thing, the movie Elysium had this, where it was like, there's the space station where like all like, the rich people go, and it's basically just like a 24/7 like resort up there, and then like everyone else is left on the planet. But I also like the concept of like, oh yeah, there's a worker colony on Mars, and you can totally like sign up for it, go over to Mars, you'll have guaranteed job, shelter, and you'll also technically be an indentured servant on a planet that you cannot get off of. But hey, it's stable work.
Totally. What are Mars mythoi? I don't even want to go down that rabbit hole, but
well, I know there's a myth called Mars, but other than that, Oh, wait.
Although
Yeah, that's
speaking
what's
of day work and doing day jobs, I have to go back to mine for a bit. I hopefully will be back in about a half hour or so, and would love to continue chatting.
Heck yeah. Thank you so much for joining
Thank
us.
you,
We hope
Kimmy.
to see you back.
I'm going to be going the direction of Akemi in a little bit, but I think the guiding principle for me with cyberpunk, as opposed to other sci-fi, is cyberpunk is all about that sort of modern dystopia. So there are lots of sci-fi franchises where space exploration is, like pushing the frontier. We're like going out to see what's there. I think this should be, you know, the ventures out into space are the ones that make money. The ones that don't make money, skipped, because no one's behind those. So I could see, yeah, like a resort up in space for the 1%. Also, maybe a mining colony in the asteroid belt or something. But like, why go to Europa? There's nothing on Europa. There could be life, but we got life here.
We don't care.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that life's not going to buy our pixel flavored soda. So why do we care about that life? So yeah.
So true.
That said, if we want to have like a warp drive book about mythoi in space, and I can write it, then I change my answer completely, and we should have everything.
Sure. No, I mean the other side of it is cyberspace, right? Tony, you mentioned that before. It's like that's space exploration in and of itself, because there's like endless space there, and if you want to look at it that way, and endless places to explore, and every day new whatever servers, if you want to call it, new nodes, new experiences can pop up through cyberspace. And I think that occupies a lot of the attention, both from a storytelling point of view and also from just like a world building point of view, where the people are actually more occupied with that than they are with maybe reaching for the stars.
Oh, a message from Joe DeMarco on our Facebook chat. Ooh, The Expanse Otherscape. Interesting.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking about. I was like, that's really, that's hard sci-fi for sure.
No, you mentioned like Mars mythoi, and I just remembered. Did you ever read the book Stranger in a Strange Land?
And that's Robert Heinlein.
I believe so.
Yes.
but it's a
I
classic.
think I started it and I was like, nah.
Yeah,
But yeah.
I only heard about it through the song "We Didn't Start the Fire." So yeah, it's in "We Didn't Start the Fire," and so I was like, okay, all right, I gotta check this out. And the whole thing is about the child of astronauts who was like left behind on Mars and like raised by aliens. So when he comes back, he has a bunch of like superpowers, but also like a weird like perspective on like life and all that.
Yeah, he's like the Messiah.
Yeah, there's a lot of parts that haven't aged well, just like a lot of classic books. But I think that would be another interesting mythoi to bring into Tokyo Otherscape. Is like, oh hey, there's this guy who claims that he's from Mars and he has this like new lifestyle that everyone should try out.
Yeah, I actually love this book. It's not he has another one that I started and didn't get into, but Stranger in Strange Land is good. It makes you think.
Yeah, I think kind of want to throw one at chat real quick. What are some like mythoi that you'd be excited to see in the Cyberpunk world, chat? I know I saw one earlier, and I'm scrolling up a little bit here. I saw Vampires on Mars from Jason Richardson. Let's see. I saw one. I can't find it. It's too far up in the chat now. But someone asked how we do a ship of Theseus in Tokyo Otherscape. And that's of course like the ship of Theseus. No wait, I'm thinking the Trojan horse.
It's the Odyssey, right?
Yeah,
it's the ship
Odyssey.
that. So.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's the I think they're referring to actually a like philosophical problem that somebody posted that there were museums in ancient Greece, and one of the museums they had like the ship that Theseus was on. That he sailed to Crete to claim his kingship and stuff. Listen, this is the ship of Theseus. The wood keeps rotting, so we've replaced pretty much all the wood. The metal's rusting, so we've made new metal. So we've replaced everything on this ship, but it's still the ship of Theseus. So it's a philosophical question of when does it stop becoming the ship, or is there a continuous identity all the way through?
Yeah, so it's
I
the
think
idea of continuity of identity. How many
exactly.
parts of this ship can you replace? And when does it stop being what it was? Because you've got your two extremes that as soon as you replace the first part, it's something different. But that seems a little bit excessive. And you go, okay, but if we've replaced everything, then it seems like it ought to not be the same ship anymore because it doesn't share any of those same materials. So that means that somewhere between the two, there's a midpoint where it stopped being Theseus's ship. But how do you define that? Is it by the number of parts? Is it by the purpose?
Hmm? Yeah, and then also you have the school of philosophy where it's like it's still the ship of Theseus since it's still like the ship. We still call it the ship of Theseus, even as the parts change over time. So there's like a few different camps to look at that. But in Tokyo Otherscape, I could see that being sort of a direct translation for like cybernetics. Like we have the character Valkyrie who we brought up earlier, who like most of her body is cybernetics. So it's like, okay, what if she she has a bit of like flesh for like her face. If she switches that out, is she like all robot, or is she still like the same person she was, even before all the implants, or is she just something completely different now?
Um, uh, Isaac Asimov has an essay about this where I think he coined the term cyborg. Um, he coined a lot of terms in this essay, and he talks about when does a person become a robot and when does a robot become a person. You can graft skin onto a robot, but people would say that's not a robot. That's not a human still. But what if you gave him also a human heart transplant? Probably still a robot, but with a human heart. What if they had a kidney? What if they had a
Yeah.
what are they? So I think in terms of bringing mythos into Otherscape, I think we've already talked about it. I think it's Valkyrie. I think Valkyrie has self and signal, and as they're going about their story, they might find a mythos to take on. I can see that mythos being the ship of Theseus. They start gaining themes and inhabiting that mythos as a way of escape. Can't get out of their contract. They can't get their old body back. Through this mythos, they can find a way out.
Well,
But it kind of applies to all City of Mist characters when you think about it. Did you ever have a character in your game that had all their themes, 4 themes replaced, and then are they still the character that they started? They are, but they're
thanks,
not.
user CC in
It's
the
like
chat.
what's
User CC in the YouTube chat just said that exact same thing. I thought you were reading off
yeah.
of that.
No. I was just we're on the same wavelength here. It's just it's characters in City of Mist all the time, and I feel that there is still something of the same character even if all of their themes have changed. So I don't know. It's interesting. That's all. That's why Moments of Evolution is something that you unlock when you change themes. It's like you need to get that experience with change in order to reach those deeper, upgrades. Basically, veteran moves, stuff like that. Unlocking edge for all the moves or dynamite, all that stuff.
T China Boy says Tokyo Otherscape Writer Room now in Philosophy 101 mode. That's Cyberpunk, baby.
Totally. Oh, he'd love to be here. He's got some things to say. This is Omar, if anyone doesn't know on the chat. This is our trusty producer.
All right. Yeah, actually, we have less than 1 hour to go. So for those of you who are just joining us, we are doing the Tokyo Otherscape Kickstarter finale stream. We'll be here until the Tokyo Otherscape Kickstarter campaign is over. Once again, I'm Kevin Carpenter, social media expert here with Son of Oak. Amit Moshe, founder of Son of Oak, is here with us as well, and Ryder's still in the room. Could you introduce yourselves real quick one more time?
Sure. I'm Tony Pye. I'm a science fiction fantasy writer, but I also write for RPGs such as Star Trek Adventures and City of Mist Garage.
I'm Colin Wilson. I write a lot of stuff with Tony for the Garage, and I have a gaming blog, Method James blog. I actually have to get back to my corporate overlords
Ooh.
at the moment. I'm gonna stick around. I'll be on the chat to chime in occasionally. So
Well, thank you for joining us, Colin.
Later.
We'll see you in the
Thank
chat.
you, Colin.
All right.
I am Lexi Untoku, and I am growing by inches less able to make jokes about my philosophy education not serving me in my professional life.
There you go.
Incredible.
I'm in danger of losing my easiest joke.
Yeah, you know, when you write for Cyberpunk, it really is. It really is. You really can't make a joke out of it anymore. It's just like we saw. It's everything you say kind of ends up being a philosophy question, which is what I love about this genre.
You know, that's another thing. You know, we're talking about writing for Tokyo Otherscape in the cyberpunk genre. Um, so, you know, this is sort of like an open question to all of you. What do you think is going to be your biggest challenge in writing for Tokyo Otherscape?
Hmm. Um, Gosh. I guess it's picking the right mythos and also the right logos. There's just so much to choose from, and I want to do them all, but I can't. It's just uh, trying to figure out what would make for the best game.
Mm. So your
Yeah,
biggest
that's a
obstacle is
really
kind of
good.
having like all the options in front of you.
Yeah, there's so many options, and like I want to see, how does this go with how does this mythos go with the noise, and how does this go with the logos, and um, yeah, just so many choices that uh, we probably want to save some for the future city books, but yeah, there's just so much choice, especially with three different categories of theme books.
Yeah, the combinations are many, and there's a lot of choosing to do.
Gives a lot of angles for players to come in from as well.
Mhm.
Because, you know, like City of Mist, you could have like characters that are more focused on their real lives rather than like their magical lives or vice versa. But now you have people who are like, are they more focused about the technological aspects? Are they more focused on the magical aspects? Are they just trying to make some quick credits and get back to their day job? Uh,
Yeah, I really think we're gonna have to create some kind of builds for the. We did that in City of Mist, but maybe some kind of builds for the rapid character creation to help players just kind of really say, okay, I just want something, whip something up here. I'm just gonna go for these, tropes or whatever. Same as we did with City of Mist. We know that we're gonna have loads of theme kits for them to choose tags out of and like populate their themes really quickly. But it'll be really interesting to see how we create the right, set of builds for this that will speed things up for players. But as writers, we don't get we can use those builds, but it doesn't. Okay, you can use it once, but then you have to make those decisions, right, of how to combine mythos, noise, and whatever is the logos or the self of it. That's a really good point. I didn't think about it. We better get started.
yeah,
Yeah.
I suppose that will be kind of a thing to think about with adventure design is, which areas are you leaning on? Are you leaning on the magic stuff, the technology stuff, the modern dystopia stuff? And, you kind of have to have a little bit of each in each adventure because, if you have a character who's, like, super into magic and, the mission is just, hey, here's a bunch of guys with guns and an armored truck, maybe they'll feel like a little left out. Or maybe not. Maybe they'll use their magic to take down the guys with the guns. I don't know. It'll be interesting,
Yeah,
though. And we're getting close, too, to that, the new adventure stretch goal. That's 275,000 for the goal?
Yes, it is.
Cool. So even if we don't reach that during this campaign, we may still be reaching it in the pledge manager. But we got 48 minutes to go, chat. So if you have a friend who'd be interested in the game, hey, send them the link. But with that, let's see. Amit, do you want to keep
I think Lexi had.
Oh.
Were you going to say something about the challenge part? Yeah.
I'm very interested in the space that's created as far as moves that you might have access to while you have all types or no types of identities of a certain variety. And that's something that has to be treated very carefully because of what it says, both in what is there and in what isn't there.
Yeah, I agree. I think in general, this is going to be the big question of, the noise themes. What are they exactly, and what happens when you don't have any noise themes? It certainly doesn't mean that you don't have tech or that you don't use tech, because everybody to a certain extent does it and uses it. It may not even mean that you don't have any augmentations or things like that. Right? It's like we really have to refine that point of what exactly does the noise stand for before we even go to that idea of those special moves.
And speaking of big questions, there's actually one that's floating around the YouTube chat right now. So City of Mist has the gatekeepers, which are sort of like the people in the background, the men in gray, and we won't go any further into details on that. But will there be sort of an equivalent in Tokyo Otherscape?
I think like with the noise, that's everything is kind of already out there, but no one cares. I think the gatekeepers are in the same position. I mean, I think we will have other interesting things to explore in other operations and other people in the shadows. With the gatekeepers, I think that that we've kind of shown them as the Bureau of Onmyo or the Bureau of Mystical Affairs. There is definitely an authority that is meant to regulate sources in Tokyo, and there has been historically for many many years. So I think we're gonna use that as a kind of that's my take on it. Maybe some of the other writers will come up with other ideas. My take on it is that they're more like a government agency, and they're there. They have their secrets. I would definitely want to see them after we have a discussion about it as one of the operations that we show on Tokyo Escape. But now they're kind of, I think they're more like one of many than the people who run the whole show, because there's a big difference. The Mist is something much deeper in a way than the noise. It really engulfs everything in City of Mist. It is the city. It is the genre of noir and curling fog or whatever it is in a dark street. So here it's going to be kind of maybe one of many. This is my vision for it now, but we didn't really have a big discussion about it. So at some point we might do that. Do you guys have any other takes? Or what we could do with the gatekeepers?
I'm seeing it. Oh, sorry. Go for it, Tony.
Yeah, I haven't thought about it too clearly, but maybe we could do Men in Black and have something to do with aliens
Yeah.
as alternative to gatekeepers. But we can talk about that.
Yeah, sure.
Oh yeah.
I'll be honest. One idea that just tickles me just right for Cyberpunk is that they were privatized at some point.
Already, I love it. So what do you think? What happens when they're privatized?
I just like the idea that they, started to fall into irrelevance or had funding issues of some type in this new world, and they were forced to throw their lot in with some sort of powerful backers to be able to operate at all.
That's nice.
Love that.
Gray washer for hire.
User Invincitank on the YouTube chat. I always figured the gatekeepers to be the anti-myth theme. Would there be an equivalent anti-noise theme? That just makes me think of like a group of monks in the city who do their best to not work with technology at all. Like they have like prayer circles that like actively inhibit Wi-Fi around them. Like,
Yeah, I really think we should have something like that from individuals who don't want to, go with tech and to a certain degree or too far with that, or who, maybe we do have one character, Shams, who is the kind of he's kind of actually a spiritual freedom fighter in the way that he believes he wants to free his fellow humanity from the noise, if it's really a thing to free humanity from, but that's another question. So yeah, there will definitely be factions that are kind of shying away from the noise, as there will be factions that are shying away from the mythoi. So or actively fighting them. The only thing with gatekeepers and rather than gatekeepers, the Bureau of Mystical Affairs, is that they are kind of using esoteric means to fight mythos, so they're definitely on the mythos side. But maybe there will be also a kind of a tech organization or something like that that would kind of just want to eradicate that factor because it's so unpredictable and hard to control. Yeah, maybe, I don't know. We're still developing that.
a lot of freedom to create different factions in this world. I'm realizing on this chat.
Yeah, definitely a lot of space to grow into.
All right. So, Amit, do we want to keep answering questions, or do we want to try to do do the crime boss creation thing? We got 42 minutes left in the stream, so how are we feeling?
Ooh, I don't know if we will do a full crime boss. Actually, why don't we start with a question to the people in the chat? If we do a creation now, would you like to create a source, a danger, or some kind of a faction? Let's call it that way. And I'm just going to type it in the chat so that people will have it in front of them. And let's see what people are kind of answering.
All right. And chat, while you're answering that question and Amit's typing the question into the chat, I've got a question for all of you who are on the stream. What are you excited about with City of Mist Reloaded? We're taking the mechanics of City of Mist and we're streamlining them a bit, making them a bit more agnostic, but also bringing them into like this cyberpunk setting. What are you guys like excited for about like the new system? I know for me specifically, taking the different player moves and condensing them down to sort of like the 5 like action verbs that we have. Meet, you covered this in the first dev diary, and we mentioned this in some of our Tokyo Otherscape videos as well. But it's like, what are the 5 like main moves now for Tokyo Otherscape?
Yeah, so we have temporary names. We still haven't decided on the names. One of them is going to be for conflict. Another for stunt, and then resist, discover, and buff or debuff. Basically, there's going to be one move for any kind of ongoing interaction, which is a conflict. One move for a one-shot stunt, yes or no, did it work, did it not work, did it get complicated. One move for fending off statuses, one move for discovering new things, and one move for all of the stuff you can do with Change the Game in City of Mist. So it's going to be much more, condensed, very simple kind of language, as we've talked about. And I'm really excited about it because this has been in the works for a long time. We did a kind of a quarter step towards it with the queer system that's going to come out hopefully in a couple of months. It's already written, we're editing and all that. We're doing a big step now, and there is also a next gen system that we've been working on that really takes it to the next level, and but that also kind of changes the system in a way. I think that City of Mist Reloaded is that kind of a sweet spot between streamlining and still staying definitely the City of Mist engine.
Phenomenal. And there's also the loadout tag coming in too. Sorry, the loadout tags plural.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's sort of like in a space like are the loadout tags crispy? Will they have a chance to be like permanent tags? Or are we kind of still messing around with that system?
We're still messing around with that system. A lot of the changes are completely untested. We have a way to go before we know exactly how they work and what we're keeping. We do have extra themes in City of Mist. That's well tested. We know that works, having more tags. We know that in a way the loadout theme you could even look at it as just like suggestions to help players understand that they can change the game and give themselves a bunch of other tags, whether they're single use or ongoing, depending on how many points you put into it. So you actually want to have something like assets or loadout tags in your main themes that will help you generate more points whenever you do this. So if you're rich, if you're have access to certain things, it will help you create tags related to that. So that's the basic idea. We still have to work through it. There was one point where I thought that each one of those tags that you create would have a little bit like juice, but like more like power points into it, and then you'll spend it to use that tag. I think it's a little too much bookkeeping for a game like City of Mist, so I'm leaning more towards just use buff debuff to create tags right now. But remains to be seen. I could go back on every single statement that I made in the past 2 minutes.
Yes, Tokyo Otherscape is still in development, and some of these may change in the final product.
Exactly.
Special message from Michael Westmoreland donating $10. Proud day one backer, sincerely
awesome.
excited about Otherscape. You people have done amazing work. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you so much.
Hey, here's actually a good question from Miles Williamson, and this is a question that I really want to know as well. Will Stop Holding Back and other cinematic moves be in Tokyo Otherscape? For those of you who haven't played City of Mist, Stop Holding Back is what I call the Spirit Bomb move, which is basically the like go all out with consequences move.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's kind of a superhero genre thing. I think it's definite because these games are so interchangeable. You can just copy it and use it as it is, and that's fine. I don't know. I would be more interested in exploring those moves that are specific to who you are at the minute than actually doing a kind of a stop holding back move. However, it's so much fun that I think we should have something to, the opportunity still for people to make a big sacrifice and gain a lot of ground. But in that, the way it is, like using your powers in a new way, losing control over your powers, it's very much a superhero trope. So I don't know that we will have it in as it is exactly now in Otherscape. What do you guys think? Do you think are there any cyberpunk tropes that could be parallel to this move?
Well, maybe when like in the Matrix when Neo goes all the one, something like that.
Totally, yeah. Or the other way around, like okay, sure, you can do that. You can do stop holding back, but it's you can only have what do you call it, the inescapable fate or something like that, sacrifice. It's like you're gonna die if you do this. You're gonna die. You're gonna make a huge exit, but this is Cyberpunk. We're not playing. You're gonna get shot. Mm-hmm. You're not going to bring down the corporation by I don't know, killing yourself over their electric fence or something. It's not that kind of story. Anyway, that's my perspective.
I would even say not necessarily die, but I think one of the key elements of a lot of cyberpunk, not all of it, but a lot, is that the idea is that these heroes are burning very brightly and that they're kind of living on borrowed time with the way that they conduct their lives. And that a lot of the time they're ready to make meaningful sacrifices on short notice for the reasons of their beliefs or their loyalty to their comrades or whatever else is suitable to the themes of the the particular story.
Yeah, so it's like a logo stop holding back. It's like you can do a lot by just like but an everyday, not every day, but a mundane, so to speak, sacrifice, not necessarily by using your powers at max power or something like that. Yeah, well, obviously we have some exploring to do here.
Yeah, and I can also see maybe it's a team up move where you need somebody else to pull it off.
Yeah.
Quick, I need you to jack into my my cyber arm so I can let loose like a super powered shot.
That sounds like a queers move. That sounds like an anime Super Sentai kind of. Let's connect together.
Empathy.
Yeah. Exactly. Which we will have. We definitely will have that.
Love that.
But yeah, that's a great question, and that's a great question for about stop holding back.
I feel
The
like
one that I really see.
Oh, go for it.
Like the image that I really get is the thing that happens like 7 times in the course of the Matrix, where one person stays behind against obviously overwhelming odds to buy everyone else time.
Yeah, and not all of them come out of it alive.
I fully believe that if Stop Holding Back is like brought into the Tokyo Otherscape core set, it should be called something like Free Your Mind. That or Go Overdrive, or as Fire Knight puts it in all caps, full power.
Oh yeah, we have Fire Knight here in the chat. I'm trying to count what people would like to. If we have any other questions, that would be great. But if not, we can maybe try and count what the stronger vote is. For a moment there, I thought it was faction, but then I saw a lot of source hits as well.
Yeah, from my eyeballing, it looks like faction and source are the big ones. I think faction has like 2 or 3 more votes for that one.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, because I
There was
think
a big burst of source at the end, but it looks like it was mostly faction.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see. We'll wait for a couple more votes and then decide. If it's kind of close, I'm gonna go with source just because I think that it's kind of very different to City of Mist. It's not something that we've created a lot, and it's not something we've talked a lot about in City of Mist.
Well, I have some good news for you then. I scrolled down a bit more, and there were more source votes trailing after the big bulk of the votes.
Yeah, that's what I saw. That made me kind of
So I think they're
shift
tied.
over there. Okay, we're gonna go with source.
Yep, let's do it.
Let's do it. So everybody, what is a source? A source is a rift, really, from City of Mist. A kind of a touching point between a mythos and the real world that allows the mythos to inject its reality bending powers into our reality. And that could be a human being, but it's not very common anymore as it used to be because of the noise. The noise is just, people don't care. They don't want to be anyone's avatar. They're not into it. It does happen rarely, and when it does happen, it's very, very powerful. But usually PCs are not these people, and they use other sources. Other sources that are available are relics, objects. There could be a place, like for Unagi. She has to go to that submerged temple and check in there in order to maintain her powers. And it could be some kind of ritual or esoteric knowledge, some kind of a secret. It could be a recipe. It could be an ancient art, like for Horishi, the tattoo summoner. They can, use their tattoos in order to create new sources in a way. These are the 3 main categories. So we're going to do a much more faster vote now because we only have 30 minutes left. So are we going to create a relic, a location, which we call an enclave in City of Mist, or are we going to be creating some kind of knowledge or art?
Vote now on your phones or your laptops. Yeah, and there was I think you said this, but there is a bit of that already in City of Mist. Like there are the people who are sort of like touched by other rifts, and so you have like the rift of the boy who cried wolf, kind of spreading some of those powers to like reporters and all that to annoy people. So you know, with Tokyo Otherscape, it's just kind of that on like a larger scale.
Yeah, totally. I mean, you mean for the avatars, for those NPCs who are connected to a mythos directly? Yeah, I mean, the one example we gave during the campaign was, I think Tony, you brought this mythos. Maybe you want to talk about it, the waterfall demon princess.
Yeah, sure. Just thought that it was a very interesting story that's also done in Kabuki theater. And she is, the daughter of a I guess a rebel. And in the story, I mean, she had a lot of uh magical powers tied to frogs,
Yeah,
and frog magic.
yeah, that was a cool part. So sorry, go on. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, let's see, what else can we say about her?
I mean, you kind of
Um,
tied this rebellion thing with an anti-government thing, right? I mean, we're already
yeah,
kind of starting charting out this character.
yeah, we have some ideas on that about her role and the kinds of creatures she commands and why she is sort of having two different arms to her organization, like one which helps, but the other at the same time is a terrorist organization. So I think we've kind of mapped out some of what she's doing, but I don't know if I want to say too much about what else she's capable of.
Yeah, maybe let's keep it there. You can look up the mythos, and you'll get a lot of information about it. Okay, now I'm totally gonna just flat out count it.
Oh no,
One, two,
don't worry
three,
about it,
four.
mate. I just counted it. Jason Richardson and John Miller have the deciding votes. We were 8-8 for Enclave versus Knowledge. It is now
Okay.
Knowledge with 10 votes.
Knowledge and art. Okay, awesome. So this is cool because we did not have that in City of Mist. Actually, you couldn't just study something and become a Rift. In Otherscape, you can. If you have access to the knowledge, you have access to the powers. Of course, these are powers on a lower level. It's more like you said, Kevin, when you have the avatar of the boy who cried wolf, they can teach something to their minions. This is the level where the PCs are in. They're just touched. They're just getting something from another source. It's not their own. It's not their own soul that is the source for this mythos. So that's why they can actually learn it from someone else if they have access to this knowledge or art. And anybody's got any ideas of any sacred old art, any kind of ritual that they've heard of that we could work with here? Let's see if we have some ideas. Beast from Cross End. They have a grudge against a party member, a big magic gun.
Oh, Fire Knight brings up a current event, the evil kitsune that broke out of the rock recently. Did you see that news report?
No, I did not see
Yeah,
that. What's that all about?
there was like an ancient rock, and I think Scotland or Ireland. Actually, I don't know where the big rock
Wait, but
was.
it's Kitsune,
Japan.
so okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was yeah, okay, never mind. I'm completely misremembering the news. But anyway, yeah, there was a big ancient rock that had a legend about like a creature being trapped in it, and then people found that the rock was split in two. So everyone's like, "Uh-oh."
We're in trouble. Okay.
Oh, let's see. Mono says Chado, Chado, I don't know how to pronounce that. The art of tea making. Fire Knight says Sun Tzu's The Art of War. Mark Johnson says the picture from Ghostbusters 2. Not sure which one that's referencing.
Cool. Why don't we take tea making? But I actually don't know a lot about that. Does anybody know anything about the tea ceremony or what kind of things are ascribed to it? Maybe the chat knows. Seconding Art of War.
I got quite a few votes coming in for Art of War, and I think
That might be easier.
We can do Art of War. It's probably easier. Okay, so we're doing a source of Art of War. Does someone find a? How do you learn this source? I mean, is it taught by a specific person? Is it a knowledge that is kept in the in a database that is completely disconnected from the internet? Is it the possession of a corporation and they teach it to their strategists?
It's Sun Tzu's The Art of War, but it's an employee training video. Remember, if your enemy is making a mistake, don't stop them from making it. Now let's move on.
Kevin, you really should be doing this for a corporation. It's like you're so good. Cool. Let's see what Celtic Druidic traditions that would be amazing to do. Well, we already picked it. Firenet says, "Fine by me, Uncle Iro approved. A janitor at the local high school. Art of War. Well, janitor kind of reminds me of Barton, which is a City of Mist avatar of war. So we won't repeat that. Let's pick something kind of a cyberpunk logos. So where can I learn this very secret data, secret information? Where is it going to be? Is it specific? Maybe a specific faction that circulates it in the underworld of Tokyo.
Maybe it's like
it's Art of War, so maybe not Tokyo.
Maybe it's like a trade secret of like an android company. You know, like this is our combat program. We put this in all of our robots, which is why they work so well. And if anyone were to ever steal this combat program, we'd be out of jobs. This is like stealing the Coke secret recipe, but much worse.
I like that a lot. So it's a kind of an algorithm or something like that that they teach to their droids, basically. And what do you guys think?
So one thing that I liked for that is the idea that this is something you can't just program into the droids. It has to be literally taught to them after they're activated.
That's cool. Because I was worrying, I was also saying, wait, so is this tech or is this mythos or is it connected? So yeah, I like that after they're activated, they have to learn it.
We have a few suggestions in the YouTube chat for making it a black market like VR game. Like you play the VR game and that's how you figure out the Art of War. Which would be a pretty cool harnessing adventure now.
That's pretty cool. And it could actually connect to what Lexi brought up, which this could be an actual one of those serious games that are used to train people, but it's used to train their androids. And if you can get yourself into one of those or steal the game itself and play it, then you become proficient in the Art of War. And I'm guessing strategy is more the focus of that.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So we have a VR game that is, I'm just going to put it in the chat here. VR game that is used to teach Android manufacturers, androids, the Art of War. Okay, so yeah, sorry, go ahead.
So one of the things that I like about that is this hits the cyberpunk trope of underground grouping meaningful stuff in what are supposed to be innocuous delivery systems.
Yeah, definitely that applies in this case.
I like
VR game is.
I like Mark Johnson's suggestion. They have to store the Art of War in like a stone room that is linked into their circuits. And maybe that's why they can't just like upload the Art of War straight to the robots, because it's like, nah, this is essentially a ritual that we have to put our robots through.
Again.
We have someone new in the chat. I like Mark Johnson's suggestion. They have to store the Art of War. Welcome,
stop?
Gift Talk.
Hey, there's a lot of background noise, so if you can introduce yourself and then mute when you're not speaking. And welcome.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Thank you. Hi, guys. Oh, I can do a video. 1 second. Where's my video?
Yeah, you
yeah,
might
can
want
you
to
hear
mute
me?
the video.
A lot of background noise, so if you can.
I'm hearing myself being replayed because
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
listening
yeah,
to the
yeah,
video.
yeah,
Hearing
yeah.
the delay.
You
in
might
the
want to
stream.
stop
Can
the.
do that. Okay. Me okay?
How's it going? Yeah, sounds great.
You see
Welcome.
me as well.
You're coming
Okay.
in. Hang on. We're seeing the Discord blue
1
squares.
second. What the hell? Okay, so hi everyone. You know what? Two
still
more
not seeing your
seconds.
video just yet.
I'll hang up and call in a few seconds.
All right.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Thematically appropriate technical difficulties, everyone.
Totally. Yeah, so we do have a VR game that's used to teach androids the art of war. What do you gain out of going through this training? What do you think kind of abilities do you gain out of it?
I suppose, the big ones would be like strategy. It would be like trying to like outthink your opponents. So like mechanically that could be like extra, like loadout tags or something like that. Like, oh, instead of adding like, a grappling hook to your loadout, you can add like fiery arrows or look around the corner or something like that.
Cool.
One thing
So, yeah.
would find pretty interesting is that one of the kind of things that comes up in it is the idea of knowing your enemy and knowing yourself. And I like the idea that this could give you insights into your own state of mind and the state of your body and your forces that you shouldn't normally be able to know.
Yeah, I think that the part about that you shouldn't normally be able to know is important here, because this is not just I have read The Art of War. This is I am the Art of War. I have the abilities of the author, the Sun Tzu, or whatever way you want to reflect it. It has to be something more than just reading it, than you would get by reading it. So I think that's one thing that we could do is that there's your stuff. One thing we could do is is like you said, give them some kind of a deeper insight into the okay, I'm totally distracted by what's happening, but deeper insight into the
Okay.
Hey! Oh, you dropped it.
There it goes.
Hey.
Hey, how's it going?
So, great. How you guys?
Good.
Doing
Doing
fantastic. So, Yutak, we were just talking about how we would implement Sun Tzu's Art of War as a source within Tokyo Otherscape. And we've kind of come to this like VR game that is like used to like teach like cyborgs and androids like strategy, and like it's something that can't just be like programmed into them. They have to go through the training. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, wow, that's interesting. So they have to go through the that's just dropping me into the Okay, you know what? I'll move to my phone because I'm waking up my friend's little babies. So I'll be right back once again.
Okay.
Okay.
Alrighty. Well,
No.
this is Otherscape's The Art of War is just a click away. Thank you, Fire Knight.
Totally. Wow, we are at 273,000, coming up to 15 minutes to go. This is going to be cutting it so close.
Wow,
Right up
time
on
passed
the edge.
really quickly. I didn't even see that it was 14 minutes to go.
I know.
Oh. We're going to have to pick up speed a little if we're going to finish this in time.
I know. I don't know that we will, but I know that we'll have a great first source for the book because I really like it. So so we said, things that wouldn't normally be accessible to, like insight into yourself and insight into your enemy. What could it be? Could it be real foresight of what the enemy is going to, going to do?
So part of it is that normally in a battle, there's this element of chaos where you don't know how people are really going to react until you're in the moment. Because things don't, like, morale isn't just a number, right? It's something that's different for every soldier on a field or whatever, as they're taking fire, as they're exchanging blows with the enemy. And if you can understand exactly how much a person can take before they break, that gives you a lot of insight into how you can most effectively distribute your force.
Okay.
Getting into the war philosophy now on this stream. I love it.
Yeah, we're really exploring all aspects.
As your pineapples in the YouTube chat says, map the battlefield. You can see landscaping advantages where others normally wouldn't.
Landscaping advantages.
Yeah, so it's like you see cover
terrain.
yeah, like you see cover that other people don't see, or maybe you see like, oh hey, there's a bunch of big red explosive barrels over there next to the enemies.
Cool. I like that too. Yeah. These are great ideas. But what would so these androids, if we're already kind of veering into a danger mode, are they like unstoppable because they always know kind of what you're going to do next? And
Oh, you have to talk.
Yay!
Are you there?
Hey.
No. Okay. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you. We don't have.
We can hear you.
Okay, great. Finally. So, are we still on the same topic with Sun Tzu? Okay.
We are, yeah. For another like about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
The quote that I'm kind of pointing at from The Art of War here is the one about if you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
that's true.
knowing yourself, what we know, we talked about knowing the enemy. Maybe you'll know what they'll do. Maybe you know the terrain well. Maybe you'll have like insight, this kind of supernatural insight into what they'll do or where you should go or what you should do next. What do you think it's going to be about knowing yourself? How is that going to be in a game like a useful tag? That could be tricky. Maybe the chat people have an idea.
One thing that's a little meta, but that I really like, is the idea that it makes the character to some degree aware of the state of their own tags.
The state of their own tags?
Like what they have available to them. They have that sort of clarity of thought about it.
Okay. Could be maybe that they dig deep down inside and they tap into something that they didn't know, or yeah. Actually, one thing that's super useful in the game is, if I'm taking it actually back to the knowing your enemy, is knowing your enemy's spectrums. That could really, or limits, that could be really useful. That's a crazy superpower, I think, if you, just from a tactical standpoint, their limits, what they can take, what they can't take, that could be cool.
So you kind of know how strong robots firewalls are. You're staring down the Azura tank, and it's like, hey guys, this thing's gonna need quite a bit of hacking to get through. Otherwise, back up.
Yeah. Cool. Iftach, maybe you want to introduce yourself?
Oh yeah.
Because we did a little intro for
sure.
everyone.
Yeah. So I joined in quite late. So my name is Iftach Govrin. I'm PhD. I have a PhD in international relations and Japanese studies. I lived in Japan for 4 years. I'm also a karate practitioner and teacher. And as it says in my tagline, I'm the original gatekeeper.
It's true.
It is a great story. I think maybe you should tell it someday. But we played the first campaign of City of Mist way back in the early 2000s. It was on Champion on Hero system, right?
I know. Imagine that. The absolute opposite of the City of Mist system. The most crunchiest system ever. Yeah.
and the strangest group, and it was like fate, I think, yeah, for us to meet there.
Pretty
But
much.
anyway, so I played the first gatekeeper, I guess, and it was an awesome campaign, really good, as you can expect from Amit. And yeah, so I'm here as I wear the hat of Japan consultant, I guess, and also I write a bit whenever I can.
Yes, we're looking forward to it. And you can find Iftach's character in Shadows and Showdowns as the head honcho of the gatekeepers. Shh, did I say that? I said nothing. And yeah, so we love incorporating the characters that backers and and even people who played the game before it was a game, into the books. So that's why it's really cool that we actually. I saw that we maxed out on the where is it? We maxed out on the Immortal tier. All gone. Two of them.
Wow, amazing!
The last two of them have been picked up, which means that we'll have 15 new characters. We're right at the edge. We have 7 minutes. We're at the edge of 274,000. May or may not unlock it in this on this stream, but we will probably, from the looks of it, unlock this adventure in the Pledge Manager. So that's really exciting, and thank you, backers. Is there anything else we have planned, Kevin?
No, we've got 7 minutes to go, and you know what? We kind of asked like the rest of the writers like a lot of their opinions on Tokyo Otherscape, but Yiftach, what are you most excited to see with Tokyo Otherscape coming up?
Wow, I can't even begin. I mean, City of Mist just hit every point of that I like. It's adventure and it's film noirish and it's great fluff and great narrative, and now you put it in Japan, in Tokyo, and you get to do it Cyberpunk, which, well, my favorite system, I guess, of the old systems is Shadowrun, which I played a lot and a lot and a lot. So yeah, that's just right up my alley. I'm so excited. Before I joined the groups, this great team of writers, I said to Amit, this looks like such an exciting project. I mean, it is just awesome. Really hits each and every point of things that I like in role-playing games and in fantasy and science fiction and everything. Really excited.
I'm really glad to hear. Man, seriously, I am so. I mean, I think it's because we have like 6 minutes left to go in this campaign, but like I'm more excited for Tokyo Otherscape than I've been, like before this stream. So yeah, so we're gonna be here for the next 5 minutes now. Hey, chat. If you have any last-minute questions for us, feel free to put those into the chat. We'll try to answer them to the best of our ability. But yeah, let's see. I mean, through this like stream though, we've introduced the crew. We've talked about what we're really excited to see in the campaign. We brainstormed the art of war, which may be a source in the final product. We'll see. More than likely, yeah. Though by how excited we all are on this stream, more than likely it's gonna.
Hey, last time we did this thing, and well, not last time, but the first time we did an end of Kickstarter stream, we created Anatoly Vidalis with the backers, and that is one of the biggest villains of City of Mist. So,
yeah,
to this day. So, yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah, the Avatar. He's like the main villain of City of Mist, pretty much, or at least sort of like the example, like the first one you really see.
And that was also created by backers on the stream. So yeah, probably. Oh my gosh, it's gonna cut it very close.
Ooh.
It's gonna cut it very close.
So close.
The backers are really giving us a show for this stream. Thank you so much.
Remember that we can technically count the 10 from Michael earlier.
It's true. That's true. That should have been in there actually, rather than I didn't even know we had monetization working on this stream. But yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, if anyone wants to donate $10, make sure to donate it to the Kickstarter. Though we do appreciate it.
No, we'll count it.
Yeah,
We'll count it.
We'll count it.
So,
see
Ido had an idea. Will it help if we add some money to prepay for our shipping? I don't think it'll be
I don't think so.
necessary, but that's a great idea.
I think at this point, since we're only like a few hundred away, I can count at least like 2 people who've sent us messages saying that they're going to pledge on like Backer Kit specifically. So like,
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
Yeah.
Does anyone else have any other questions, or do the writers have things they want to bring up? Let's see what they have in the chat. Or yeah,
User Alpha Yell says, "Here's an idea. What if Cyberpunk Anatoly?" And someone else responded, "Analog Toly." That was Colin. Oh, that's Colin's in the chat. Hey, Colin.
Analog Tolly. Well, this one's going to be digital Tolly, and yeah, that's actually a pretty scary idea.
It's pretty much the same character, but it's online poker that he gets most of the souls from. It's like still a criminal with casinos, but also it's got that like, oh hey, online poker addiction element.
Yep, that's one way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. Okay, it's yeah. What else? Other questions that we have on the chat? Olegis is asking, how will the dichotomy between mythoi, the noise, and self will work now that there's no mist and mythoi are external? There will not be necessarily a dichotomy in the sense that one pulls the other like we do in City of Mist. There will be just kind of like, here's the world, here are the types of things that you can get into, whether it's sources and mythoi or tech and noise or just, the everyday stuff and yourself, and go out there and build your character. And even we encourage you to change your character's aspect as you play the game. Drop one, get another one. It's going to be a little less built in, baked in, like it is in City of Mist, which is all about the mystery and discovering who you are, and it's going to be a little more rough around the edges.
Invincitank asks, how much fun are y'all having making these games?
Hell yeah.
I'm having
Maximum fun.
Maximum
Yeah.
fun.
Totally. How much? The most. Totally.
Will the new streamlined City of Mist system be released as a PDF alongside Otherscape?
That's a great question. I do think that we'll release a PDF that you could use if you wanted to switch over, but the system for City of Mist is going to stay as it is for the foreseeable future. So yeah, we might create a kind of a hack that you can use, but everything that we're going to publish for City of Mist is going to be using the same system, because for City of Mist it really does what it needs to be doing, and yeah, that's pretty much what it's going to be. Okay, I think we're almost out of time.
Yeah, we're coming up on 30 seconds. Yeah, I mean,
Julio?
Amit, any sort of last statement you want to give to the backers?
What can I say except for thank you? Thank you very much for supporting us. Everyone, I mean, from the first Kickstarter to this one, this has been obviously the most, the biggest campaign, but it's kind of built on all these years of people backing us, and then the new people who have joined in this campaign. I really would like to thank the writers, because I'm so excited that all of you are on board, and Kevin Kevin's doing all the heavy lifting with the social media and with our channel. So and everybody else on the team, Iran, the editor, Manuel, the graphic designer. Isn't this an amazingly beautiful page that he's created? And also Omar, our trusty producer, and a lot of other people that we work with. This is it. We're wrapping up. We're going to wrap up here, just shy, just shy of the goal, which probably means we're going to
Oh,
unlock it in the next, in the next, pretty much as it starts with the pledge manager. But thank you so much. This has been an amazing campaign to run with you all, and I guess we will get to work. So we'll see you. We'll see you later in the next stream.
Have fun, everyone.
bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.